Now I have the honor to give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Jukka Salovaara, Permanent State Secretary for the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Finland. You have the floor, Excellency.
Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished participants, it is an honor to address this Council, a vital body for the promotion and protection of human rights for everyone, everywhere. As Finland has moved on from member to observer, we remain firm in our support to the Council's mandate and the independent work of the OHCHR. Democracy, the rule of law, human rights, gender equality and non-discrimination remain at the core of our policies. Mr. President, in the 18th anniversary of the United Nations, it is imperative that we all recommit to the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. These milestones documents embrace a powerful vision of peaceful coexistence, stability, prosperity, and a life in larger freedom worldwide. They spur gender equality, diversity, and civic space. They guide us in the fight against racism, anti-Semitism, and anti-Muslim hatred. They uphold humanity. They are our promise to future generations. The Council has an important task to ensure this intrinsic link between human rights, peace, security and development. Its actions contribute to a rules-based international order that we need to defend. Mr. President, as the Russian full-scale invasion of Ukraine has entered its fourth year, Finland will continue to work with all stakeholders to hold Russia accountable. We call on this Council to reiterate its resolute commitment to Ukraine's territorial integrity, sovereignty and independence. Finland strongly supports a continued mandate for the Commission of Inquiry on Ukraine, collecting evidence of violations of human rights and war crimes. The international community needs to serve justice to Ukrainians whose lives and hopes Russia has shattered. The unbearable suffering and loss of lives in Gaza is distressing. Finland welcomes the long-awaited ceasefire and hostage agreement. This Council must support all efforts for a permanent end to hostilities and for advancing the two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. UNRWA must be allowed to fulfill its critical mandate. A peaceful future for Palestinians and Israelis requires a strong commitment to international law and accountability for all violations. Mr. President, in Russia and Belarus, human rights defenders, lawyers, and political opponents operate in a limited civic space, endangering their life and freedom. The so-called presidential elections in Belarus were neither free nor fair. We welcome the attention by the Council to these and many other deeply concerning situations, including in the Sudan, the DRC, and Afghanistan. All states have a duty to adhere to human rights and to cooperate with the UN. In this regard, we reiterate our call on China to engage in cooperation to implement the OHCHR's and treaty bodies' recommendations. The restrictions on civic space in Hong Kong and the situation of ethnic and religious communities, including in Xinjiang and Tibet, continues to be a concern. We would have liked to see our important partner, the United States, to work with us in the Council. Mr. President, women's rights and gender equality are an inherent part of the UN's purposes and principles. So are the rights of all LGBTIQ+ persons. They enable peace, security and development. We also have to rekindle the 1995 spirit of Beijing. Women and girls have the right to make decisions about their bodies, lives and futures. We must also act firmly against sexual and gender-based violence online and offline. And we must fight violence and discrimination against sexual and gender minorities. Finland supports the Council's cooperation with women human rights defenders. Let us be determined in our support of Afghan women and girls, as well as the LGBTIQ+ community. We are facing an unprecedented persecution by the Taliban. To conclude, Mr. President, Finland has good experiences of dialogue and cooperation for human rights in this Council. We look forward to continuing on this path with all states, the OHCHR, human rights defenders, civil society and other stakeholders. In advocating for human rights globally, Finland is always ready to address also its own situation. We have submitted to the Council a mid-term report on the implementation of UPR recommendations. We welcome any feedback in this regard. Thank you.